Good morning and welcome back to the 6 a.m. Club where we start our day inspired. Today we are starting a new month. I, for a second, had to pause because I had this feeling that I just said that like a week ago. And now March is over and we are kicking off the month of April. This month, we are going to be jumping into a new theme on the podcast. You'll hear more about that on Monday. But today, here on the 6 a.m. Club, I want to share with you a new quote in the hopes that you start your month inspired, you start your day inspired, or whenever you listen to this episode, it inspires you. So let's dig into this week's quote. And it says, "It's not what you say out of your mouth that determines your life. It's what you whisper to yourself that has the most power." This quote is so true. We can say externally, from the mouth out, whatever we want to say. How many people do you know that every time you check in with them, everything is fine? Their life is perfect. They're living their best lives. And that's all that you hear from the mouth out. A lot of times, it gives us a false perception of how people really are. The most important conversations that we have, the most important stories that we tell are the ones that we tell to ourselves and the conversations that we have with ourselves. We are the person that we spend the most time with. And even if you tell me, oh, I don't speak to myself, that is for crazy people. No, we all do. We all have an inner dialogue that is going on consciously and unconsciously sometimes. And that inner dialogue has so much power on how our life plays out. It is that inner dialogue that fuels our mindset, that fuels our thoughts. And those thoughts are the ones that control our actions, and our actions the ones that control our results. So that inner dialogue that we have with ourselves is the most important conversation that we have in the entire day, is the most important conversation we have in our entire life, because it has more power in impacting the life and how we experience our lives than any other conversation that we might have with anyone else. So my invitation for you this week is to just bring awareness of what is your inner dialogue. What are those conversations that you're having with yourself? Do they tend to be positive or negative? Do you tend to critique yourself and judge yourself, or are you your best supporter? See, a lot of times we have these dialogues and we're not even aware of what is the theme of those dialogues. So slowing down and paying attention to what is our inner dialogue can tell us a lot about where our mindset is and how it's going to manifest in our lives. If we want to experience and live our best lives, we need to start by taking control of that inner dialogue and become our best supporters, to become our cheerleaders, to become our coaches and our mentors. Recently, I made an episode on the people that you need in your career. We can talk about the people that you need in your life. I had once a guest speaker, Stacey Flowers, that is very well known for a tech talk that she did years ago on the 5 people that you need in your life to be happy. And while it's true that you need all these different people external to you, in addition to you, to help you be happy and achieve your dream life or your goals or whatever it is that you're pursuing, you can be all of those 5 people for yourself. And you might be asking yourself, okay, who are those 5 people I need to know? Well, I'm going to summarize it very quickly for you. And then on the show notes of today's episode, I'm going to put a link to that interview I did with Stacey Flowers, where you can hear directly from her who are those people. The 5 people that you need in your life. And again, you can be those 5 people for yourself. You need to start by showing up for yourself in all these 5 roles, in addition to having people that play these roles in your life. So when we talk about that inner voice, these are the 5 roles that your inner voice must play in order to help you live your best life. Number 1 is the cheerleader. You need to believe in yourself when you're struggling, when things are going well, but also when things are not going so well. You need to be your own mentor to point you in the right direction when you're feeling lost. And that is where your inner intuition comes to play. Your intuition can become your mentor. You just need to listen to that voice inside of you. You need to be your own coach to push you out of your comfort zone so you can maximize your potential and make things happen. When you start to feel too comfortable, your inner voice can play the role of the coach to push you outside of that comfort zone. You need to be your best friend. We all need friends in our lives, but you can be your best friend to hear out your dreams and your deepest desires, keeping that positive inner conversation. And last, she says that you need a peer to keep you focused on the task at hand. While you can be your peer, you can be your own accountability partner. That inner voice inside you can help you stay focused on the task that you have at hand, which is the role of the peer, according to Stacy. So those are the 5 people Stacy talks about in her TED Talk. And I think personally, when we talk about inner voice, that we can play those roles for ourselves. So once again, check out the interview I did with Stacy maybe 3 years ago. I think this was pre-pandemic, so it's been over 3 years, but it's so relevant and it will for sure inspire you. But I hope today you took something out of this short episode. And if you were to take anything from today, I hope that you take the fact that your inner voice has more power in your life than any other conversation you have with anyone. So, are you aware of what are the themes going on that inner conversation you're having with yourself? And how can you show up for yourself as your cheerleader, as your mentor, as your coach, as your friend, and as your own accountability partner? I hope you have an amazing day. I will see you here back on Monday for a new episode of the Leading Yourself podcast.